Welcome to another episode of my Max Ideas, stuff that I've come up with in my head or whatever. Now, before we get started on this, I just want to say that I have absolutely no idea what's been happening with these last couple of videos for Max Ideas, but they've kind of blown up. I upload them and they get a bunch of views for a short time, and then, yeah, not really sure, but thank you all for watching these if you're watching them. Although if you're not watching them, then yeah, I don't even know where I'm going with this. But today we have another thing that's just from the insides of my crazy head onto paper, and that is those Max Ride videos. TriMet has posted videos from the end of April and May for each train line, except at the time of the recording of this, the red line hasn't been posted yet. Maybe by the time it's uploaded it hasn't been posted yet. Today's August 2nd, in case you're wondering. So if it's been uploaded between August 2nd and the day that this was uploaded, then you can see this for yourself. TriMet's uploaded these little ride videos where they mounted a camera on the front of the train and recorded it the whole way, just the whole trip. For a couple of reasons, because, well, number one, it's just cool, and number two, so that you can see how empty Portland is during the whole COVID situation, because some of those stations were dead that normally are not dead. There weren't that many people anywhere. And you could also see cleaning crews and people who were cleaning up the stations and the areas around them, and so it's just, yeah, it's cool to see that all. But I have an idea for more. Here's TriMet's YouTube channel. Now, their newest video, as of now, is the Blue Line video. So, the Blue Line. See, it's an hour and 40 minutes. Then you've got one down there for the Green Line. Also an hour and 40 minutes because it goes both directions. Then you have the Orange Line, and then below that is the Yellow Line. As of now, like I said, they don't have the Red Line up. But some of those videos were pretty short, like the Yellow Line and, sorry, I disappeared, I had to put it down. The Yellow Line and Orange Line ones combined are 50 minutes in length. And like I talked about on my Max 101 series, the Yellow Line and Orange Line are the same thing. The Yellow Line is the Orange Line and the Orange Line is the Yellow Line. But they did it in two separate videos, but they only went one direction. It only went from, the first video they uploaded was the Yellow Line, and it went from the Expo Center to PSU. Then there was a video of a continuation from it on the Orange Line video from PSU to Milwaukee. Well, that's it. That's all the Yellow and Orange Lines that they had. This series of these videos has a lot of potential. You could upload tons of stuff. It'd be cool if they did this every year, or every so often, or whatever, where they mount a camera on one of the trains and they just film it the whole way. And so that way you could have the return trips too. So maybe next year you could expect return trips. Which, by the way, no, you probably couldn't, because there's nothing official about that. But, you know, just thinking about this, like let's say they did this every year, well, every year you could expect a different set of videos. So the Orange Line would be the first video, and it would be coming back the other way. And then once it goes in through downtown Portland, maybe you could have the Yellow Line video. Or you could just say Yellow and Orange Line video and have it as one video or whatever and go all the way to Expo Center. You could do that too, so having it go the other way. Another helpful thing, and I could even edit the videos to have it like this, is to have the stop names. They don't need to be really big, but having the stop names in one of the corners, kind of like how I do it in my ride videos, which you can check out if you want to see the entire Red Line, then I have videos of that. If you want to see some other ride videos, I have those too. I have a whole playlist. You can check those out afterwards. But the Orange and Yellow Line are the same kind of deal, and so having a thing there to tell you when it's orange and when it's yellow or whatever could help some people who do not live in Portland and who like to see these videos. Chicago, the CTA, has done a very similar thing. I've never lived in Chicago, I've never been to Chicago, and I've never had any interest in the city of Chicago, but then I watch these, and you see how many they have, and these were 2019. They had another one in 2015, and they have time lapses and everything. And if you watch one, like let's click on the orange line real time. So it has their intro, it has a very loud intro. And as you go through it, you can clearly see it had the station names in the corner. So if I fast forward to a station, you see how they have the station name in the corner like that? And it had an orange banner to tell you that the orange line stops here. But if you get to a station name that has multiple lines serving it, you see how they have those little color bands? That's their way of distinguishing the different lines, which you could do. And that's kind of what I've done on my videos, where I put those little circles in the corner that tell you what line it's supposed to be on. It's kind of like that, so you could add text to the videos as well. Now, I had been waiting forever for the blue line video, and to see it going from Gresham to Hillsboro was amazing. I mean, finally we get to see what this looks like. But I was hoping to watch it from Hillsboro to Gresham, because I always get on the trains at the Hatfield Max station right at the beginning. But the Hatfield Max station and all of downtown Hillsboro is at the very end of the video. And so having the lines going both directions would help a lot. It doesn't need to be all in one video, but it would be nice. The green line is the only one that goes in both directions. It's about 50 minutes each direction, and so the whole video is an hour and 40 minutes. Now, how come the green line was able to do it but not the others? The green line ends at the Jackson Street turnaround at the end of 5th Avenue. And so it goes through, so if you think about this, let's say my fingernails are the front of the train. If it's coming down 5th Avenue, the camera's mounted on the front of the train. When it goes through the turnaround, it's still going to be on the front of the train, and so it can just go all the way back to Clackamas. So they had it starting at Clackamas, going to the turnaround. It went through the turnaround, still facing the same direction, and then went back to Clackamas. So, because of that, it was able to go both directions. But none of the other train lines use turnarounds anymore. But it doesn't really matter too much. You could just do a video going one way, and then some other day, or maybe next year, or whatever, take that same camera, put it on the other side, and record trips going the other way. That way, orange lines would start out in Milwaukee, going back the other way. The blue line video would start in Hillsboro, going to Gresham, and the red line will do the opposite of whatever it does if they ever get that video uploaded. Now, there was somebody, if you look on their Twitter for the blue line video, I think, there was somebody that said, oh, it would be nice if I could lend you my 360 camera, that way you could have mounted it on the train and we could have had a 360 video. And while that would be really cool, unfortunately, because of where the camera was mounted, or where I think it was mounted, it wouldn't have really worked. I believe they mounted them either on the coupler head or right near the coupler head somewhere. And having a 360 camera would mean if I were looking straight ahead, it'd be fine, and I could look a little left and a little right. But if I turned all the way around, I'd just be seeing the front of the train. You know, I'd just be seeing that, and you'd probably see the driver in there, and I don't think the driver would like that. But you could somehow fix a solution up for this if you took the camera and mounted it up on the roof somewhere. I don't really know if it would be up to standard, though, because of the bright Cyclops lights. I'm not sure if having another device up there would be against some sort of code, if such a thing exists. So it seems like the best idea is to just have a stationary camera sitting by the coupler head, not interfering with anything. And that's what they're doing. The cameras are clearly on the outside. Another thing that would be cool if TriMet did this was, and a few people have said this, is to somehow put the station announcements into the video. Now, again, like I said, the cameras are mounted outside, so you can't hear the announcements because, well, they don't play outside. Well, except for when the doors open and it tells you that it's a blue line to Hillsboro or something, but the actual stop announcements themselves and all that stuff, those are all internal speakers only. And so you can't hear that on the camera. But there is a solution for that. I know TriMet must have, whoever created the video maybe works at TriMet. I don't know who created the videos. I don't know how they were done. But I would assume it was from somebody who worked at TriMet who thought, this seems like a good idea, let's mount a camera here. And if that guy was able to do that, maybe he's also able to get the actual announcement files, the audio files themselves, and tag them, drop them into the video where each station was. That way, if you're watching the video and you get to an area where all the stations start looking the same, Burnside Street in Gresham, then you can remember where you're at a lot easier.
In the priority seating area, you are required to move for seniors and people with disabilities.
Another cool thing, but again because of security reasons maybe you couldn't do this, not really sure, but is if you had yard-bound trips. You could have trips that don't just go from Hillsborough to Gresham or whatever. Here's the thing. Not all trains go from Hillsborough to Gresham and to Hillsborough and to Gresham and all that kind of stuff. So, to have a special trip recorded like that, that would be cool. Having it going from Hillsborough to Ruby Junction, or, well, I don't know if really any of those exist anymore. Really, they have trips that are, it's like 15 to 20 minutes to do this, from Hillsborough to Elmonica, and then it pulls into the yard. That would be cool to see the yard, and have it like pull into one of the garages maybe, or, I think it would look cool. Would it be a security concern, safety concern? Maybe, but there's a lot of TriMet employees there, and a lot of security. I mean, there's gates everywhere that are all motorized. Don't ever go in there. Don't even try to go in there because, well, it's not public. With the whole tunnel thing, the Robertson Tunnel was a security concern of some kind, so they had to edit out most of it and censor it. And if you haven't actually seen the Blue Line video, then I'm not going to spoil exactly what they do, but just go watch it for yourself. It's kind of funny. So maybe it wouldn't be the best idea to actually... You could probably pull the trains up to the yard limit area where you have to say, okay, I'm at the yard limit. You could probably do that and just record up to there. I mean, most of the yard is in the public view from anyone anyways. If you drive or take the train to the Elmonica Park and Ride and look in through the fence, you can see everything already except for the insides of the buildings. But, you can see the mass amounts of storage tracks. Same thing at Ruby Junction. The longest Ruby Junction trips are either the ones that come up from Milwaukee and go all the way there, or the ones that begin at the Expo Center that say yellow line to Interstate Rose Quarter, and then there they turn and go off to Ruby Junction. But on those examples, it's more than one line. It starts as a yellow, then becomes a blue, or whatever. And with the other ones where there's trains ending at Gateway or whatever, well, that's not very good because now the operators have to switch cabs at Gateway in order to get off to Ruby Junction. So, yeah, there's a lot of potential for this series to expand further than just a single video for each line. You could do this every year. You could go in multiple directions. You could do multiple weird trips. They don't all have to be the entire trip. It can be a weird trip that just ends at a random spot or whatever. Or not at a random... Like, what I'm saying is not just cut the video short at a random station. What I mean is a weird trip throughout the day, like a green line to Gateway, or blue line to Ruby Junction, or something like that. It doesn't have to be the whole ride. And if it ends at those stations, then, yeah. Although it's probably better to just leave it alone and just leave it as a lengthy ride throughout the whole thing. But, yeah, there's a lot of ways you could go with this and make it an entire series that is made yearly, and it would really help because for people who will watch these videos in 25 years when there's plenty of different MAX lines open where there's a lot of extensions and stuff that currently don't exist, it'd be nice to be able to see all that before and see it year by year as it progresses. And the fact that Chicago was able to pull it off, they've done at least 2 series of videos in 2015 and 19. They've probably done some others as well. I haven't really looked. I think TriMet could do the same. And I conclude by saying that not enough transit companies really do that, where they showcase their transit system by recording the lines and showing you exactly what they do. I mean, that's a pretty unique thing done by the transit agencies themselves. And so, one lengthy video later, I must conclude this now because this is going on way too long as usual. So I will see you on the next one.